They're telling us what's going to happen.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes. Yeah. They're programming us and they're letting us know the stuff that's coming.
We ain't gonna have no more people working no more.
Yeah, for real. We already know. But yeah, keep going up, Brandon.
Okay, hold on. Where was I? All right. Which we declared to the king now 50 years since. I'm at verse 10. And behold, now his father has also transgressed thy commands and mocked thee by bringing thee another child which thou didst kill. Killing kids.
Yes, I just want you to know something because when Moshe was born, what did they do?
We tried to kill him.
They tried to kill all the firstborn males, right?
Because they knew something was coming.
Why do you think they have all these abortion things? They got to kill our firstborn. The same thing happened to Abraham. So his sibling ended up dying in his stead. It's in the book of Jasher because his father loved him and he had another child, by a man child, by a maidservant. So he gave his other child. You know what Nimrod did? He grabbed that child and dashed that child into pieces.
Whoa.
In his face.
He did.
In his face.
That's Abraham's brother?
Huh? His brother them. So he didn't already kill one of his siblings.
But it's nothing new, guys. I mean, look at what they did to our ancestors. They
fed
the babies to alligators.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
they're talking about the gathering, how people was
Yeah,
watching it like it was a
exactly.
movie.
That's what I was thinking.
I was just thinking about that picture, like them kids were eating ice cream while them
Watching.
folks.
We're gonna watch it get burning today, yeah.
I was
Exactly.
like that was entertainment to them folks.
This ain't
You
even
know how evil
Mississippi
you
talking
gotta
about
be?
burning.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't seen that picture in Illinois, have you?
Which one?
All right, so there's a famous, I hate to say this, but a famous picture of a lynching. And there's a man looking at the camera and there's somebody else doing this, right? So in Illinois, they have that exact painting on the wall, minus the man hanging from the two people hanging from the tree. I think it was a husband and wife. They hung them and burned them. And there's a child, I think, eating ice cream, ironically.
That's
Yeah, it's innocent. So, just, anyway.
hypnotified.
I'm telling you, man. All right, keep going,
Couldn't
man.
be me.
Man, yeah.
Fight to the death.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
And when the king heard their words, he was exceedingly wroth, and he ordered Terah to be brought before him. The king said, "Hast thou heard what the conjurers have spoken?"
What are conjurers?
Jurors.
Them people,
Conjurers.
they,
Witchcraft.
I was just saying, they bringing people the spirits
Oh,
up.
conjure up.
Conjurers,
Yeah.
Now tell me truly, how didst thou, and if thou shalt speak truth, thou shalt be acquitted. And seeing that the king's anger was so much kindled, Terah said to the king, "My lord and king, thou hast heard the truth, and what the sages have spoken is right." And the king said, "How couldst thou do this thing, to transgress my orders, and to give me a child that thou didst not beget, and to take value for him?" Is he asking how she had a baby for him?
No, he's asking how you gave somebody else's baby away instead of giving me your baby, because there was a prophecy about a baby that will be born that was going to eat up the other stars and eat or kill, destroy the other kings. That's why
He's trying to more or
king.
less stop that.
And that was about Abram. It was about Abraham, because he was always the promised seed.
All right.
Okay, keep going.
And Terah answered the king, "Because my tender feelings were excited for my son, and at the time, or as you were at the time, and I took a son of my handmaid, and I brought him to the king. The king said, Who advised thee to do this? Who advised thee to this? Tell me, do not hide aught from me, and then thou shalt not die." And Terah was greatly terrified in the king's presence, and he said to the king, "It was Haran, my eldest son, who advised me to this. And Haran was in those days that Abram was born, 32 years, 32 years
So,
old." All right.
so he just gave up his son? He gave up his other son for his own life. Abram's brother. Okay, read the next verse.
But Haran did not advise his father to anything. What? For
So
Terah
my-
said this to the king in order to deliver his soul from the king, for he feared greatly. The king said to Terah, "Haran, thy son who advised thee to this shall die through fire with Abram, for the sentence of death is upon him for having rebelled against the king's desire in doing this thing." And Haran at that time felt inclined to follow the ways of Abram, but he kept it within himself. And Haran said in his heart, "Behold, now the king has seized Abram on account of these things which Abram did, and it shall come to pass that if Abram prevail over the king, I will follow him, but if the king prevail, I will go after the king."
So this is
So he ain't got no faith.
boy, I was just about to
I was
ask you.
literally just about to say, this dude is like, all right, whoever come out on top,
Whoever win, I got
He
it.
sounded a little lukewarm
saying?
right
That's
there.
my
I'm straddling the fence.
Boy.
I will spew you out. Hey.
Make your calling and election sure. He's like, man, look, King, if you win, I got you. Hey, Abram, though, if you, I got you. Right?
It's like placing bets. Like you bet the highest to the person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
It's a 20-40 split.
Mm-hmm. No. No. Keep going.
And when Terah had spoken to the king concerning Haran his son, the king ordered Haran to be seized with Abram, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought them both, Abram and Haran his brother, to cast them into the fire. And all the inhabitants of the land, and the king's servants and princes, and all the women and little ones were there, standing that day over them. And the king's servants took Abram and his brother, and they stripped them of their clothes, excepting their
Lower garments.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting text. Lower garments which were upon them, and they bound their hands and feet with linen cords, and the servants of the king lifted them up and cast them both into the furnace. And the Lord loved Abram.
How many days was that?
3 days,
3 days.
3 nights, 3 days, 3 nights.
So ain't nobody's gonna survive that. Like,
Shouldn't.
ain't no way.
Man, that's hot.
Like that's the end of the story. That's it. We ain't got no covenant with the
But
Most
this
High
is the
no more.
never-ending story, so we're good though.
It's also the song that never ends. So keep going.
All right.
All right, I love this.
Let's see what y'all did there.
There we go. And the Lord loved Abram, and he had compassion over him. And the Lord came down and delivered Abram from the fire, and he was not burned. But all the cords with which they bound him were burned, while Abram remained and walked about in the fire. Holler at your boy.
So how is that possible?
Because he had faith.
And then what happened to the three Israelites?
He believed
Shadrach, Meshach,
Yeah,
and
right,
Abednego.
Yeah.
But it happened prior to that. So our
Shadrach,
forefathers
Meshach, and Abednego.
But that's what I'm saying. I had never heard about
always does the same thing.
I've heard about people being thrown in the fire. I heard about people being thrown in the lion's den, but I don't remember this one.
this. I don't remember this one
Because
either.
this one wasn't
This-
taught to us as a Joshua.
This ain't in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the books they took
There's
out.
a lot of
The
books
Bible
missing in the
mentions
Bible
it. It
on purpose.
mentions it twice.
The
So
Abraham.
that's why we're learning about. No, yeah. Keep going.
And Haran died when they had cast him into the fire. And he was burned to ashes, for his heart was not perfect with the Lord. And those men who cast him into the fire, the flame of the fire spread over them, and they were burned, and 12 men of them died.
So how many gods did they have?
12.
Well,
Oh, that's really strange that 12 of them ended up dying. And it's crazy that Abram goes in there being consumed by a fire,
And he good.
but he was good. But then they get consumed by fire because the Most High, he's a consuming fire. So
Yeah.
what is it? Like, what are we really trying to say here? Go ahead.
Okay, you said there was 12. All right, with this, as where this said, there was 12 that were cast in there and burned up. All right, so.
Well,
there's
they weren't
12
cast in.
there-
But, yeah,
That
gotcha.
was on the outside.
They were on the outside. They weren't cast in. There was only two in the
the
fire.
ones that threw
There's only 2
Haran.
people cast in the fire.
Oh, so
Abram and Haran.
now it begs the question: were those quote unquote gods, demons, walking amongst men? Because there was 12 specific people burned.
Yeah. Because
He killed one for every one of their gods.
Mhm.
For every one of Terah's gods.
Did he kill one of them, or did he kill one of?
no, the guards that threw
Look.
them in there.
What I'm saying is just a hypothetical. Like, okay,
Don't make
say
it too deep, bro. Don't make it too deep.
this is already deep, bro. This is like a whole other book. Like we in the water already. What you talking about?
He said, we already in the water.
No, we here.
If you can't
We in the
swim,
deep
bro.
end. What you
Yo, put my
mean?
hand up,
I can't swim. Yeah.
So the question, the hypothetical that I'm coming up with is the ones who were burned.
Right.
All right, they were already. These people were already. These multitude of people was already worshiping gods. So what if the one, say hypothetically, one of the ones that was burned, right, was one of the gods that they was worshiping, and they just didn't know because he was among them, worshiping with them. What if he
Oh, like-
was
Oh, I
that
see what
god?
you're saying.
It
I
could
see
be all
what
of
you're
them.
saying.
Does that make
Because the
sense?
Most High, he can do whatever he pleases to show his power. Like,
But yeah, I think I like that.
it's just really crazy because the Most High's like, oh, y'all want to put your hand on my anointing? Abram was the anointed. He was the son of man of his day because he learned from Noah. Son of man is a title. It's a title. He was the son of man of his day. And we're seeing it. We are seeing it. Keep going.
I read ahead and
Yeah, I know.
jaw dropped.
I know.
And Abram walked in the midst of the fire for the same amount of days, 3
Okay.
days and 3 nights. And all the servants of the king saw him walking around in the fire, and they came and told the king, saying, "Behold, we have seen Abram walking about in the midst of the fire, and even the lower garments."
I'm going to stop you right there.
Sorry.
So he walked around for 3 days and 3 nights. It was already cooking for 3 days and 3 nights.
Yeah.
So
Did he ever go to sleep just chilling on a cold like a pillow?
So, just so you know, because we're watching the evolution, the transition from Abram to Abraham. Now, we know that 7 days is a week. So 3 days and 3 nights. So they put him in on that 4th day. Right? He walked in there 3 days, 3 nights. And then on the 4th
Sunday.
day, 8 means a new beginning. This is why this was the newness of Abraham. This was the transition period
From
for
Abram
him.
to Abraham.
But what else is important about 3 days and 3 nights? When else do you remember hearing about that?
3 days, 3
The
nights.
Messiah.
Jesus died.
He walked through. He went through.
Jesus.
What they tell us. He went through
Yeah.
hell
Jesus.
and had
Oh, he
the
went to-
gates open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, going
And
through all
freed
the
everybody.
hellfire and brimstone.
Yeah.
So the fire had to burn them and make them anew.
He only chooses people that go through the furnace of affliction. The furnace of affliction.
Go through the fire.
Keep going.
Alright, I missed 2 days, 3 nights.
Laying into.
Alright, Abram walked about in the midst of the fire, and even the lower garments which are upon him are not burned, but the cord with which he was bound is burned. And when the king heard their words, his heart fainted, and he would not believe them. So he sent other faithful princes to this matter. And they went and saw it and told it to the king, and the king rose to go and see it. And he saw Abram walking to and fro in the midst of the fire, and he saw Haran's body burn. And the king wondered greatly. And the king ordered Abram to be taken out from the fire, and his servants approached to take him out, and they could not, for the fire was round about, and the flame ascending towards them from the furnace. And the king's servants fled from it, and the king rebuked them, saying, "Make haste and bring Abram out of the fire, that you shall not die." Wow, so you can control the... All right,
Come
cool,
on,
whatever.
man.
Look,
The servants of the
look,
king...
Hold on, because he was the Most High's anointed. Touch not his anointed. So you trying to send people in there, he gonna kill them.
Man.
Like you can't mess with nobody that the Most High's hand is on.
This
You can't do
He
that.
sound a lot like a pharaoh. Don't trip, I got you.
That's what I'm saying. Like the audacity, like you seeing all this before your own eyes. The audacity of you
I
to be
wonder if
like,
he was
I got you.
Caucasian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zimmerman?
Yeah, it just, the Caucasian.
He's a king. He's a king though. Kings talk crazy, but he was actually using wisdom and saying it because he saw, oh man, our people keep dying. Hey man, just come out here, man. You got something behind you, so
I'm gonna
you,
take
you
care of
can
you.
come out. I'm gonna stay over here. You just come out through that fire. Keep that thing away from me. I don't need to get burned because truly the burning bush is happening again. Go ahead.
Where was he when he got put in the fire? Because obviously he wasn't anywhere around.
The king?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, in safety.
Like, if you notice that he was
He saw 12 of
nowhere
them get
there.
burned. He wasn't nowhere near that.
He was just sending people there.
Just like he was with those other 900,000 people watching, not close enough to the fire to be burned.
Was this, oh God, stop calling. Was this before or after those other people got ate up after Egypt?
This is before.
This is before
way
that?
Before Egypt.
Did the people who got rescued out of Egypt know anything about this? If they
Yes.
Yeah.
These are our books. This is our history.
That's why they say the stiff necked people. These folk hard headed.
this is nuts. Like,
This is our history. Yeah, they knew it.
all right.
I just said, like I said, I just associate it to now. Like you can just see like time by the time we'll see something happen. It'll happen to Paw Paw, it'll happen to Uncle John, it'll happen to cousin Junebug.
To May May.
And get what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn around, we're gonna do the same thing. Why? what sisters they made? We've been doing it throughout our
Eventually,
our
you
history.
hit your head against the wall.
That's where
enough,
their
the wall
faith is
break.
at, though. Their faith is in what they've seen. They don't have any faith in the unseen of, oh, I can break this cycle. Well, no, my granddaddy, then my step granddaddy, them did this, so I got to do it.
They're scared of what the others might think about them, so they'll just get along, gang.
That's crazy, and it's even, bro. It's even in even in the following of the faith they have.
It's exactly the same.
Well, dude, my mom, Papa did it, so it's good. What? What? I don't get it.
Right?
I was raised that way. That's what they say.
Well, I was raised. I ate pork all my life growing up.
Man, that stuff makes me sick, dude.
That's that's what they excuse.
Here lately, I'm not gonna lie. Here lately, and every time I eat something that's got pork on it, I either do my best to take it off, or if I do eat it, I like pray before I do, and I feel guilty and bad, and then eventually I feel sick and go to the bathroom. And,
Yes, it's a
It
lot.
just-
It's a lot behind
like-
it.
I'm just allergic to it
It's
at this
serious
point. Like,
guilt.
if I smell it, I'm like,
Best to stay away.
I
So
don't
you
know,
gotta just
man.
be able to
It just
remember
doesn't
to
taste the
read
same
the
at all.
ingredients.
It don't even
It
smell
don't.
good.
I don't have a
Like, it
taste
doesn't.
at all. It doesn't have a taste to me.
No, it does have a taste.
For
'cause
me, I'm saying for me
Yeah.
personally, it doesn't. I don't
Like
taste
a savory taste.
I don't know.
anything.
I don't know
It
where
tastes
we
like
were.
a penny.
I had ordered
Couple.
something
Good.
and it was something, I don't know if I should have asked or something, but when I put it in my mouth, I started chewing up. I was like, this don't taste right. And I literally, and I asked, I was like, is this pork? And they were like, yeah. I was like, oh, heck no. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was like, man, I didn't even think to ask that.
Just
It was
think,
gross.
think about the audacity. Like,
Ugh.
people look at you crazy for not eating one of the most unclean animals
Gross.
ever created.
Yeah,
It's literally the
the vacuum cleaner.
like it kills our
It's a
people.
dumpster.
Me and
It kills us.
me
For
and a
real.
Muslim had a
Ah.
conversation on TikTok, and we went back and forth just on pork alone, and the whole thread was like, y'all are wrong, and da 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 da. I'm eating the pizza right now, and it's good now. And we was like, all right, man, you go ahead. You know what I'm saying? More power
I
to
mean,
you.
I ate pizza too.
And
I
it
don't eat
was-
with no pork.
What was it?
But
I can't remember
I
what it
can
was.
understand that, like, because I look at my history. Like, when I was 15, I told myself, I said, if there's a religion out there that's telling me that I can't eat this, that, or whatever, I don't want it. Because this bacon tastes good.
Boy, it used to have a hold on me too.
Man,
That was the
only-
hardest thing.
Take
I
pieces
can
of bacon
relate
and
to
roll
where
it
they're
in
coming
bread
from
like
because
this
I can
back in
look
the
back
day.
on my own
Try
states.
that.
So,
Don't do it now.
but the man I am today
I
now,
can get some turkey bacon though.
I
I
probably
did
slapped that 15-year-old back in the day. That was me. So
You
yeah,
ain't lying.
slap him, beat him up.
Like, I don't even
Probably
have.
missing some teeth.
I don't even have a taste for it no more. Like, it's done.
It's just got a foul smell to it and everything. It's good.
But keep going, Brandon, because we're reading through 43.
All right, good to go. And the servants of the king again approached to bring Abram out, and the flames came upon them and burned their faces, so that 8 of them died. Wow. And when the king saw that his servants could not approach the fire, lest they should be burned, the king called to Abram, O servant of the God who is in heaven, go forth from amidst the fire and come hither before me. And Abram hearkened to the voice of the king, and he went forth from the fire and came and stood before the king. So Abram came out, the king and all his servants saw Abram coming before the king with his lower garments upon him, for they were not burned, but the cord with which he was bound was burned. And the king said to Abram, how is it that thou was not burned in the fire? And Abram said to the king, the God of heaven and the earth, in whom I trust and who has all in his power, he delivered me from the fire into which thou did cast me.
So, his faith was his what?
Protection.
It was his shield.
Word.
It was his armor. It was his protection in the Most High, in the
That's
Creator.
super dope.
So, what is Nimrod or the king? What is he realizing now? Because, like the scripture that talks about that we don't battle against flesh and blood, right? We just read that, did we not? But we battle against principalities, powers, spiritual wickedness in high places. But what we don't actually understand is, okay, for instance, Moshe. Moshe became a what? Okay, somebody go to Exodus 7 and read verse 1 real quick. Anybody, just read
Exodus
7 and just read verse 1.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet.
So Moshe became a what?
God.
He became an Elohim. So we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, just like Jacob. When he wrestled the angel, like, I don't even know how I'm trying to say this. Moshe became an Elohim to Nimrod, to the king, to all the witnesses. So now it wasn't just we wrestle not against flesh and blood. It was flesh and blood trying to wrestle against what Abram had just turned into. He turned into Abraham, and we just watched it. We just read it. And so there's been a lot of good ship Jesus, like, wait on Jesus, wait on the Lord. We know those who wait on the Most High, he will renew your strength.
Those who wait.
And there is a time for that, but how long are we going to wait? And what if we're not waiting on the Most High? Have you ever seen thought about he's waiting on us?
Man,
That's what he's doing
Like,
too.
man.
He is waiting on us because how did Abram manifest the godliness?
Because he diligently seeked out the Most High.
I have wrote this.
We don't see him crying out to the Most High.
No, because his faith was established right then and there.
It was established. So we're not waiting on the Most High. The Most High is waiting on us because that's why the world is groaning for the manifestation of the sons and daughters of Elohim?
Because to diligently seek, or to seek the kingdom, you have to do your work.
You got to do your part.
You got to get up and do what you got to do to seek.
This is not the time for excuses.
Don't say that.
No.
We have got to give the
3:16.
Most High more. For real.
It don't say you gotta work now, sis. It's in John 3:16.
Word.
Believe it.
True.
That's it.
But we got to stop making excuses about spending time with the Most High.
Man.
Reading, because we also read where Abram, he also was following the instructions of the Most High. That's his Torah. To understand his nature. But even like when Jacob, he sent his family off, and when he was wrestling against that angel in Peniel or Pineal, he won against a Malak or a god, or angelic being that can't die. So that it has to mean that he had already transcended, he was already translated. Like Enoch was translated. To fight against an Elohim and win? We just watched Abraham do it. How do you walk through a fire and not be burned? For 3 days and 3 nights. It wasn't just, oh yeah, I ran into a burning house and I came out. How?
I've been in those.
3 days and 3 nights. And he was what? Reborn. Like the manifestation has to come through us. The Most High, he's not waiting to just manifest himself in front of you. He's waiting on us to manifest his nature in ourselves. So then that the things that we speak become a life to everything. Or death to something.
Man, the power of your words.
Because death and life
Is in the power of thy tongue.
Okay,
and they that love us shall eat the fruit thereof.
Yes.
so check
By
this.
your words you will be justified. Go ahead.
Check this out. All right. You said something about he's waiting on us.
Right.
I remember in all of my belligerence, I was at church way back in the day, and I wrote this poem, and it made people mad. But the poem basically said, it pointed out that it said all these people talking about I found God, I found God, I found God, and I don't remember what I said after that, but basically it was I allowed him to find me. Because even in the beginning, when Adam and Eve was kicked out of the garden, they were hiding from him, not him hiding from them. He went looking for Adam.
Thanks.
So then, power in the tongue. So it's weird. It's weird saying this. I've been battling this whole VA thing for a while. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get to the point like as fast as possible. So everything that I've said, and this Bird was talking about this the other day. He said everything you ever talked about has happened. You had a son, you put out a book, you got a lowrider, you got a house, you got da 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 da. But outside of that, I've said to people like, I remember when nobody believed you would have a house, dude. I remember, as soon as you said something about it, I was like, that's dope, that's yours. I'm not saying that I got all kind of powers, Bird. I'll call you back. Freaking, I believe in that. And now you got a whole plantation. Like, not even trying to be funny, but real talk. You got a whole plantation
That's
and a
what Master
business.
says.
And a business. I mean, she's waiting on, you know what I'm saying, the free labor. So anyway, freaking, as you work. So, all right, so the whole VA thing, I'm bringing it around to this, and it's like, this is my own realization. And it happened at like 3 this morning. I woke up to a message on my phone. I don't ever wake up to a message. I just don't. So freaking, I looked at my phone. Navy Federal said, you got 48,000 put in your account. You got like all the way messed up, bruh. Nope, I ain't accepting that. I'm not, cause they be playing at the VA. They be taking money back. I was waiting on Monday to call the VA. I got a letter this morning. I'm thinking today's Sunday. I got a letter this morning from the VA saying, hey, the VA is wrong. Blah 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 blah. The records say we rule in the veteran's favor. I have no idea what my percentage is now, not a clue. But I know that I don't have a car payment. I know that I don't have another deal, and I'm able to bless other people, and that's what I do every time. And I feel convicted for saying I. But what I'm trying to say is, whenever I have a lump sum of money or something, because I mean it's really all I can give time, but you know, I'm always making excuses. But whenever I have money, freaking, I always try to put it towards something. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm able to help now. I feel like I'm able to do more now You know, now that I've taken care of home and got things done, it's weird because it literally goes back to what y'all were talking about. Freaking, we need to come out of hiding. He ain't waiting to pop up in front of us. He waiting for us to jump out from that behind that bush, naked or not. Come as you are, and then freaking power in the tongue. Like, I mean, telling people, "Hey, man, you at a funeral, you crying, but it's gonna be okay." And then they're like, "Oh, it is." It's weird. Like, it's really weird. Sometimes I be feeling like an X-Man. But, like, I'm like, for real, man. Like, I'm gonna stop talking. Anyway.
So,
But
yeah,
you powerful.
Yeah.
Cause what you know, we have these gifts that we don't even utilize. So like you said, sometimes we don't even know. We just, it's coincidence. Nothing's happened coincidental. Nothing. So it's but like we have these power. We have this power. I ain't gonna say these powers, but we have a power that we don't even know how to tap into. We don't know how to utilize. We don't know we have. You know, we might be using them for the wrong things. But like you saying, you like another thing you were saying. You don't like saying I. It's not. You know, you're not giving yourself the glory. You know what I mean? Just look at it like, man, you being blessed to bless somebody else. That's it. It ain't about what you're doing, because if you weren't blessed, you couldn't do it. So it's still him. You know what I mean? So don't beat yourself up on that.
That's like Pastor Campbell used to say that before I left the church. He said, "Watch me and watch." He said, "God." I said, "Y'all," but I still say, "Watch me and watch y'all," because whatever manifests in my life, it's only because of my faith in the Most High. So when people say, "Oh man, you got this," I'm like, that ain't nothing but the Most High right there. I'm like, don't give me the glory. I'm giving the glory all to my Father, because I know exactly where that comes from.
There's no limits to what we can do.
At all.
As long as we believe in Him, believe in the words that we speak. So never speak negative against yourself or anyone else.
Yourself.
Because we're supposed to respect our neighbors, keep our neighbors. So our neighbors, everyone that we come in contact with.
I do my best to try not to speak ill about people, but some people make it hard.
Oh yeah,
Now, you can rebuke somebody.
It's a test every day, man.
rebuke is better than secret love.
Man, like, listen.
One time.
Open rebuke is better
than secret love.
You can rebuke somebody. I'm telling you, it was
It's okay to do that?
Yes.
Respectfully though.
Yeah. You know, your heart gotta be straight.
You have to remember to be humble about everything that you do. You gotta, and that's just respectfully.
But like I said,
as
long as your heart is straight, you know what I mean? You know in your heart you're not meaning ill will.
Yeah.
Because, like, my mom is constantly telling me, you need to go see your grandma. And I'm like, Mom, I'm good. I'm cool. You can go see my grandma. I'm good. I'm not begging for her. You know, I'm cool. I've dismissed her a long time ago. And I feel no guilt whatsoever. Even though,
I can relate.
even though it says, honor thy mother, thy father, that your days may be long gone on the earth. I had a conversation with God one day. I said, I hear you. And if it means that I'm going to crash this car, I was in my lowrider that day, and I hit a bump that was hard, and I was locked up, so the car was doing all this craziness, and I was scared. And I was like, well, if me disobeying them mean that I'm going to die today, then, hey, I'm cool with that. But by the same token, I'm like, I want to be here for my kids. But I refuse to grovel and bend to someone who has literally done nothing but tear my family down from the beginning.
Now, I do want to say one thing, man, because I even talked to Jessica about it. I do feel as if that there are certain things that you need to let go. It's holding you in the same place. You need to let it go. We all got stuff that we need to let go. Let the pain go. Let the hurt go. We're not a kid no more. You know, we can actually actively affect our situations now. We need to let it go.
I did let go of my past with her. I had that conversation with the same person. And
Well, I'm not even just talking about that. I'm just talking about something.
I was just thinking about, we was talking about that, and I was just like, I was thinking about it, and I said, well, I did let that go, but I can't watch my mom, who's a 2-time heart attack, 2-time stroke survivor, keep going battling with this lady.
Okay, I understand
and
that.
respect this lady.
I get you.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I mean, that's wisdom. That's not
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
like
good.
respecting your parents and honoring your parents. You know how you are as well, because if that's gonna get you emotionally unstrung, to where you're just gonna go off and this and that, that's not fruitful either. Like, I mean, it's lawful for you to go talk to your grandmama, but if y'all two don't mix, then why would you come around that? Like now, in the Most High time, He may make a bridge or some type of way. But if you don't feel led that this is the time, then you're like, it's not the time for that right now. I don't know. It may not ever be the time. That you're not going to always get along with people, even if they're family.
Yep.
So like, don't let that hold you in a place of uncertainty of just wondering like, well, I disrespected my mama, so this and that. It's more than that. The Most High knows your heart.
Roger.
But I really feel like there's something that you're just holding on to that you just want to let go. And let it go.
Speak plain.
I don't know. I don't know what it
It was
is.
just a feeling.
I don't know what it is. But I kind of feel like it's
Don't
abandonment.
look at me.
I kind of feel like
You
it's
know me.
I kind of feel like it's abandonment issues maybe. But outside of that, I mean,
Pray about it. Ask the Most High to reveal to you what is bothering you. Because sometimes, as vessels, we don't know. We just know that there's something that's keeping us from being that full person that the Most High wants us to be.
yeah, it's abandonment.
I'm gonna tell you what somebody told me, and it goes in the line about like us not wrestling against flesh and blood. You know, somebody told me, I'm like, man, because I was talking, I'm like, man, it's a spirit on this such and such person that I can't break through. No matter what I say, somebody else say, we can't break this through to this person. And somebody was like, this probably just a spirit attacking you, and I thought about it. I'm like, so it might be something like it might be somebody in your life that has something attached that's attacking you. You see what I'm saying? Like I didn't know that at all. I'm like, this person, this they personality, this is what they dealing with. But the whole time it's probably attacking me through this person. And I'm feeling like, well, I ain't got no problem. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that. Like I said, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Roger.
So, you know what I mean? That just take that into consideration too. Like you said, it's things that could be at play. We have no idea.
Or somebody could be praying against us.
Yeah.
People do that a
All the
lot.
time.
And
A
I
lot.
learned this at an early age. Because I knew that somebody was not praying as with the A, but they were really praying on me for my downfall. And I really had to start not only praying over myself, but over people that were around me. And then when my children come into the world, I still pray over my children and myself and anybody that I'm attached with, because you don't know who's praying against you.
They have different Elohim, and if you
Yes.
ain't covered, if you don't have on your shield of faith,
Right.
your protection, you're wide open for possession.
That's why I pray
Because
with my
that's what
household.
depression is.
I pray with my threshold. When somebody come through my door, whatever's I ain't supposed to be there, you ain't coming in this thing.
And then that's what anxiety is. That's what abandonment is.
Yeah,
That's what all these things are.
they're all spirits.
We got to put on the shield of faith and believe that the Most High can purge us of these things. Because we can't.